that's one of the good things about living in the United Kingdom for now anyway, is that our democratic system still seems to work fairly well. And we've looked at this before, and there are elements that are beginning to kind of creep in and corrupt it. From my point of view, I think the postal vote is a real problematical vote, because for example, just in many ways, for example, today and yesterday, postal votes started going out, and people have already voted. I've seen on people on Twitter saying that they've already voted and they've put their vote in the post. Well, the application to apply for a postal vote hasn't even passed yet. Like the application, I think it ends tonight if you want to apply for a postal vote. So, I mean, people are already voting before even the application to apply for postal voting has even passed. The whole thing just seems very unstructured, and it's especially bad for groups like yourself. People in Paisley and Renfrewshire South probably don't know that your party is standing because they haven't seen it on the television, and because you're not a household name. And who knows, they might not find out about your party until the very last day. If you had somebody standing outside a polling station, they won't even find out about you until they see you outside the polling station a few minutes before they go in to cast their vote. So, but by allowing people to vote, 2.5 weeks or whatever before the general election, it's mitigating and disadvantaging these smaller parties who need every single minute right up until the polling moment in order to make themselves known. So this, just get a vote and vote 3 weeks before the election, that's not good for us as small parties. It really mitigates against our best interests. I don't know what your thoughts on polling postal votes are, Alan.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Alistair. Last year, we emailed our supporters and we said, if you want to avoid voter ID, because we're really against that, because we see no need for it and it's just intrusive state surveillance, then you could use the postal vote. And we got some pushback with that, and I think that criticism was justified. We were really seeing it as the lesser of two evils. But one of my worries about postal voting, as well as obvious fraud, which is, it's much easier to do it with postal voting. The other one is that if you have households where there is one older man, for example, who's in charge of an entire household, and it's a large household, and maybe that is the only person who speaks English, then you would have votes for all of these people living there, but actually the chances are there's only one person voting. So therefore you could have a block vote, which doesn't actually reflect, it doesn't allow these people to participate in democracy. Whereas in the polling station, you can't go in voting for, well, I mean, you can vote by proxy, that's true, but at least there's more of a check, of like, there's one person, one vote happening.
Absolutely. And another point of that as well is, if you're living in a student flat, as some of us have done in the past, and there's maybe 3 or 4 of us, and 3 or 4 ballot papers come in, and one person is the only person that's interested in politics, and there's the other 3 votes there, the other 3 guys can say, we're not interested, you just vote for us, Jimmy. And so Jimmy gets to fill in the other now it's illegal if he does that, but he gets to fill in the 3 votes, and they need to sign it, obviously, but they allow him to make the decision for them. And you get other couples that do that, like maybe the man's not interested in politics, and the woman goes, you should vote, Jimmy, you should vote. And he goes, you just vote for me. Again, it's illegal if they do that, but that's totally against the spirit of democracy, and it encourages that. Postal voting encourages that kind of behaviour, which seems just wrong. And we say, postal voting if you're out of town because of work, or holidays, then sure, apply. And or if you're in some way disabled and you can't actually make it to the polling station, or you're particularly elderly and you don't have any other way of getting to the polling station, sure, that's how it used to be. But they changed that to voting on demand. You could just apply for it and get it regardless. And I think that's a way that's corrupting the democratic system, and all the parties are complicit in this. I'm not blaming any one party for it, because they all support the postal vote. But if I had my way, it would be just go back to the old system, which you only get it if you need it because of the circumstances on the day.